Yeah, I mean they did enough to win, right? And it was an outstanding second half for them offensively and defensively. The way they were able to hold the Rams out of the end zone and the red zone defense in the first half.
Zach, thanks very much for joining me here on This Week in Pro Football.
Absolutely, thanks for having me, Pat.
All right, Zach, I see you got yourself comfortably ensconced there. That's an impressive bookcase. And so, listen, I want to start with this. Zach, you covered the last week's game. And as I was texting with you about, John Facenda once said, speaking about the 1979 Steelers, great teams aren't always great. They're just great when they have to be. Is that what we saw last week when the Eagles blocked 2 field goals against the Rams?
Yeah, I mean they did enough to win, right? And it was an outstanding second half for them offensively and defensively. The way they were able to hold the Rams out of the end zone and the red zone defense in the first half was critical. So certainly, they were good when they needed to be, and it's the type of thing. It's been the case against the Rams here for a few years
Right.
with Sirianni against Sean McVay. But yeah, I mean, I think that description would be apt. I don't think it's something you want to make a living doing, though.
No, I agree. The Rams, as a franchise, and I followed them for a long time, they just have a knack for doing the stupidest thing possible. Certain franchises just do, Zach. You know what I mean? You ever notice it that, the Bears, the Rams will do it. Certain teams just can't get out of their own way when it's crunch time. And I think maybe the Eagles are learning to be the exact opposite.
No, it's a fair point. There's a certain resilience to the Eagles. It's something that they talk about. But you saw it with the Chiefs last year too, winning all those one-score games. I don't think though it's the like I said, you don't want to make a living doing it, right? Yeah, I know there's different ways to win, and all that matters is if you're one more point than the other team. But the quality of play matters as well, and I think that to a man in that locker room, they're not happy with the way that first half went.
Talking here with the excellent journalist Zach Berman, who's been a Philadelphia fixture on the sports side for a long time. Zach, what does it say, or does it say a lot about how a team is coached when on a dime they can spot a weakness in special teams and block 2 field goals, and they can say, all right, hold off on the rush on the run game here. We're going to switch. We're going to start throwing the ball, and it works. It works like they never stopped throwing the ball.
Well, it's a credit to the coaching staff for the things that you mentioned, certainly, but they also got into a 19-point hole, right? And so
Right.
I think that it works both ways there. There's a story that famous sports writer Jim Murray was covering. I think Jack Nicklaus said, "What would Arnold Palmer do in this situation?" And he said that Arnold Palmer wouldn't be in this situation, or it's the type of thing where the fact that they were in a 9-point hole that they had to dig themselves out of, that's not what you want to see. And so I think that, yeah, the block punts, I give them a lot of credit for that. The offensive adjustments, I give them a lot of credit for that. But there's still that first half that you can't absolve them from either.
No, that is true. It's true. It's puzzling in a way that the Eagles will go through a certain, a plurality of minutes in a game where they just seem to shift into neutral. I don't know if it's because they think they're going to win the game, they're confident they're going to win, and that's it, or if it's just a matter of adjusting to what the other team is doing. But as I mentioned in my initial segment, 19 wins in 20 games. That you're in rarefied air when you're able to turn it on when you have to and garner a result like that.
No, you're correct. And for Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, look, the wins and losses is a way to judge them, and
Yep.
they win a lot of games. And so both of them, right? If you look at head coaching rankings, you look at quarterback rankings, they're probably not ranked as high as they should be when you consider that they're in the winner's circle quite a bit.
No, you're certainly right. Now let's all laud Jared Goff. He plays in a big garage and throws 5 touchdown passes, and that's great against the Bears. But we all remember what Jared Goff did last January against, face it, a middling, well, a good Washington Commanders team, but still not that. Zach Berman, is the NFC East race over?
Well, you never know what's going to happen with injuries, right? And so I never want to call a race over in week 4, but I thought going into the season the Eagles were the class of the NFC East, and that remains the case. I mean, I certainly think that they're superior to Washington. Dallas. I thought Dallas was actually going to be more of a challenger to the Eagles
Yeah.
than Washington. The CeeDee Lamb injury affects them. Obviously, the Micah Parsons trade before the season. And the Giants are really struggling. So it would really surprise me if the Eagles aren't back-to-back NFC East champs for the first time in 2 decades, really.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it, that it's been that long since a repeat champion. But the Cowboys are particularly fascinating. One thing, Zach, they're on national TV 2 times a week. I don't even know how they manage that. But it's a team that's not very good at all, in my opinion, and wasn't coming into the season. I thought they'd be maybe a 9-8 team or something like that. But the attention this team gets for being, I think, a fair to middling operation, it's really astounding. I mean, the Eagles are almost more anonymous than the Cowboys are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cowboys do have to have talent, and I thought they played well against the Eagles in week 1. And I've always been high on Dak Prescott, and when CeeDee Lamb's healthy, and George Pickens on the other side, and they have some quality young players on the offensive line, but I think defensively they're really struggling right now, and trading one of the best players in the NFL didn't help them.
No, that was a mismanaged situation right from the beginning by the egotistical Mr. Jones. Talking here with Zach Berman. Congratulations on returning to the Athletic.
Thank you.
Continued success there. It's a fine and thorough publication. All right, Zach, the Eagles return to what is right now their personal house of horrors. They've lost 6 or 7 games now to this team, most of them in Tampa, where the Eagles just seem to get hit with a golf club right after the national anthem, and next thing you know, it's 17-0. But they're not playing the Rams this time. They're playing a team that goes for the jugular. Give me your Wednesday night thoughts on this game coming up Sunday. You think Philadelphia will be ready for that?
Well, I think that right. Like the Eagles obviously know what's happened in Tampa, but I think a big reason for that is the Bucs are a good team. They're a talented team on both sides of the ball. They're well coached. I have a lot of respect for Todd Bowles. As far as the Eagles going into this game, we need to see how it is health-wise. And that's the thing. You look at last year's game, they were missing A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson. Offensively, they were a show of themselves last year, right? And the Eagles put Nolan Smith on IR today. That's a major loss to the edge rush. And so we kind of need to see how some of these injuries shake out. But I think it's going to be a tough game for the Eagles. And I think it's going to be a tough game because the Bucs are a good team. They're 3-0 for a reason, right? And Baker Mayfield's playing at a high level. Now they're missing Mike Evans, and they're missing some, key players on their offensive line as well. So, there's a lot of different variables. We need to see how this week goes, but it's going to be a tough game for the Eagles for sure.
It is, and it's amazing. And I'm sure statistically I'm wrong, because every season is probably like this, but it sure seems like we've had a rash of injuries to prominent players and prominent skill position players in the first month or first 3 weeks of the season, and then now they're starting to bite into the Eagles now too. Zach Berman, you have a new book coming out, Leap Year: The Eagles' Ascent to Super Bowl Champion. How do you feel about the book? You excited about it? And what inspired you? And you are a prolific book writer. What inspires you to churn these books out?
I appreciate it. So over my shoulder here, you see Leap Year. It came out yesterday, Tuesday, the 23rd, and it's behind the scenes of the Super Bowl season, right? And so I've covered the team now. This is year 14 for me. I'm with the team every day, and it was such a fascinating team and story to cover. And so as far as writing these books, I'm fortunate to cover the Eagles during a prolific time in franchise history, in that, you think the first 51 years of Super Bowls, they made 2 of them. They didn't win 1. In my time covering the team, they've made 3 and they've won 2. And so they've given me rich material. They give me rich material to write about, and I think that's what you'll see in this book. I'll take you inside the Super Bowl winning locker room. I'll take you from the time the red confetti fell on Jalen Hurts to the time the green confetti fell on Jalen Hurts. I'll introduce you to a lot of the characters that made this team special, whether it's Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson, A.J. Brown, Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, Darius Slay. There's chapters on all these guys. Yeah, it was fun to tell this story, and I'm eager for Eagles fans to be able to relive this season through these words.
Well, I would recommend it. Obviously, I recommend the book to all of my viewers here, and I wish you very well with it, and continued success with all of your journalistic endeavors. And look forward to Zach, if I could grab you and having you back this season. I think it's going to be another pretty good season here in Philadelphia. And thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pat.